Hey Web World, Scotty D. Welcome to an unboxing video in the kitchen of my family's RV where today we're going to be making coffee. But not with this. We're going to be making the coffee with this when we get it unboxed, but this is replacing that, and that is our old Mr. Coffee coffee pot. Now let me preface with this video that whether you have an RV and you camp or glamp, some people call it glamping because when you are in an RV you're not necessarily roughing it, so it's glamorous camping, glamping. But whether or not you camp, glamp, or not, but you just want a delicious, consistent cup of coffee in the comfort of the kitchen in your own home, then the principles of this video still hold the same. So stick with me on this, whether or not you glamp or camp, or you just are sitting in your house right now and you want a consistent cup of coffee, this video is for you. So this is a drip coffee maker. And if you know anything about drip coffee makers, they are prone to human error. And the human error will affect the taste of the coffee from pot to pot. And that's because there are numerous things that can go wrong. It starts with the water. So if you are camping or glamping, the water from campground to campground is going to be different. And that's going to affect the flavor of the coffee, no matter what you do. So try to be consistent with the water. If you are glamping and camping in an RV like this, take water from your home, however you brew your coffee there, so that when you get to your campsite, your coffee's going to taste the same, as long as the rest of the elements are the same. What we do is we typically bring a 5-gallon cooler of water from our home, which is natural springs water. So we take the natural spring water from our home and take it camping with us so that when we're making coffee, it's the same water every single time. So that's the first thing to do. But the challenge with this is it's small. And in an RV setting, you want a small coffee maker because you don't have a lot of space on your counters or in storage to store these things or to keep things on the counter all the time. So you want to use compact devices like this. But that leads into challenges in the morning when you've gotten multiple people waking up and they each want a cup of coffee. Do you have enough to serve coffee for everybody, or are you consistently going through small pots of coffee every couple of minutes just to make sure everybody has coffee? So the size of this is a challenge. While this calls itself a 4-cup coffee maker, cups are subjective in the world of coffee. You can do a demitasse cup of coffee, or like an espresso shot, which is typically like a 3-ounce, all the way up to big mugs. And I'll show you mine here in a second, where this is not going to be enough for multiple people. In fact, this one measures out 4 cups of coffee at 5 ounces per cup. That's only 20 ounces of coffee in this carafe if I brewed it all the way up to that silver band where the handle is attached. So I got 20 ounces of coffee in here at any given time. That's not a whole lot of coffee for multiple people. The other challenge is when you are setting the coffee maker up for multiple people, you've got to go through a whole exercise every single time. I've got to get the water from wherever I have it, if it's coming out of my tap or a cooler. If I'm at my house, it's coming out of the tap, or however I get my water at my house. Once I get that, I got to pour it into the back. Once I get the water into the back, I put the carafe back in. I got to pull the drawer out, and then I got to use my filters. This is your next evil part of a drip coffee maker, because this can affect the flavor of your coffee. Do you know how they made this paper? I don't. Is it acid-free? Is it used with a process where they make it to where there's zero flavor transferred from the filter to the coffee when you're making coffee? I don't know, but the first thing I know is you go to the filter section of the coffee part of your supermarket, and there's white filters, there's brown filters, there's metal filters, there's all kind of filters out there, and you've got to be careful so that the filter that you're using doesn't transfer flavor into that pot of coffee, affecting the flavor. Then you've got your coffee. So let me move this out of the way for a second. You know when you go to the store and you buy coffee and you get it in the bag, if it's pre-ground and you get home, I hope you don't keep your coffee in that bag, because it's not airtight. I don't care how many times you roll the bag over and you seal it with the tape or the little pieces of metal that wrap around. It's not airtight, and air will get in and oxygenate and oxidize the coffee, which affects the flavor of the coffee. So that is the first thing you should do is once you get your coffee home, take it out of that bag, put it into a airtight container. And we use these containers because, let me put this back over here. These containers have a lock lid to where if I drop the coffee, the lid's not coming off and the coffee stays in there so you don't have to clean up a big mess. So these are lock lids. This is what it looks like. And then you put the lid on, snap it into place, and you're good to go. It doesn't matter if it falls out of a cabinet. It falls out of the cabinet while you're driving your RV. Doesn't matter. Your coffee's going to stay in here and it's going to stay airtight. But the grind of your coffee can still affect your coffee. So there's a lot of different things that go into this, including the measurement. So if I'm using a tablespoon and I'm using maybe 2 tablespoons per cup of coffee, by what standards? Is it an 8-ounce cup? Is that a 10-ounce cup? What's your measurement of ounces of granulated coffee to ounces of liquid water? I don't know. However you like your coffee, strong, weak, doesn't matter. But in a drip coffee maker, when you're having to do that every time, this can be inconsistent because maybe you scoop it and the scoop's not completely the same as it was last time. Inconsistent coffee in this. And then the time it takes to set this up every single time. From pulling, I can tell you this, from pulling this out of the cabinet to setting it on the counter to setting it all up with the water and all that, you're looking at least 6 minutes just to get this thing completely set up in the morning. You're not running around at full speed in the morning. You're kind of groggy. You're still kind of waking up. So it takes about 6 minutes to brew a pot of coffee in this. Once you get it done, now you got to clean it all up and get it ready for the next pot. And here's the big thing. What if you don't like the same coffee that other person's drinking? Now, in my house, I have weaned myself off of caffeine over the past year to where I don't drink anything caffeinated anymore. It just really wigs me out. And so I like decaf coffee. I know what's the point. A lot of people will scream that. The point is I like the flavor of coffee, but I don't like what I feel when I ingest caffeine in any way, shape, or form. So I have completely weaned my way off of caffeine in every way, shape, or form. So I like decaf coffee. Now, other people in my family like regular caffeinated coffee. Some people like the flavored foo-foo coffee versus a regular grind of coffee. So as you can see with this, you're going to go through a lot of exercises every single time to reset that coffee maker to brew a cup of coffee for multiple people. So we're getting rid of this because of that. This is what we're replacing it with. This is the Hamilton Beach FlexBew coffee maker. And this is a FlexBew, meaning that it can brew coffee grounds or it can brew single-serve K-cups. Amazing. So, let's get this box open up right now. Now, everybody who does an unboxing seems to have an obnoxiously large knife to cut open a simple piece of tape. I'm no different on this one. I'm borrowing a sword from my son here that I thought was obnoxiously large that I could cut open this box with. And my family says, please don't cut yourself with this thing. This thing is extremely sharp. But I thought it would be fun to take an extremely large, obnoxiously overly sized cutting device to cut open this box. And I'm not going to go all samurai sword on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut open the box with this obnoxiously large sword here. So here we go right now. Get it here. Everybody does this stuff when they're doing unboxings. I don't know why. I just thought it'd be fun to get an obnoxiously large knife to open up this box here. So there I go on that. And then I've got this piece of tape over here. Let's see here. Get underneath this piece of cardboard here. Let's try. I don't want to do that. That'd be bad. I'll end up in the hospital. Let's see here. All right, so got that. Did I get it? Oh, I did get that side. Cool. And that obnoxiously large cutting device to open up a piece of tape on a box. And I'm being as extremely careful as I can because my son knows how sharp this thing is. All right, so now we've used the obnoxiously large cutting device to cut open a piece of tape. I think that we've sufficed the unboxing gods on YouTube where you have to use something obnoxious to open up boxes. I don't know. It's a rule. Get this safety thing on here. Set this knife over here. Knife. It's a sword. All right. So let's open up this box and let's see what we have in here. All right. First thing we have is the instructions. The instructions is because nobody wants to read these things, so it's unbelievable that they even stick these in the box. So we're just going to put this right here right now. And we have a piece of cardboard right there. And take out the coffee maker here. Nothing else in the box. And hey, you hold this over there. All right. So here is the Hamilton Beach FlexBew coffee maker. Let me get this plastic bag off. All right, here we have it right here. Plug, let's get that undone. Back there. All right, we have the plug. It's not that long of a plug. What, 2 feet? The plug on this thing, about 2 feet. This is what it looks like. Now, side by side, let me take this off here so you can actually see the size differences of this. It's a little bit taller, but width-wise, it's just about the same. Pretty cool, right? I think we did that by chance. But anyways, about the same width as this coffee maker, a little bit taller, but let's take a look at how this thing is put together. So you've got your water reservoir right here in the back. You've got a drip tray down here. Oh, okay. So here is a reusable filter, fine mesh filter right there that you can use ground coffee in. Close it up and let's see. Oh, put it in here. Well, how are you going to put that in here? Oh, you take this out. So this, we'll figure out what that is here in a second. So that is where you would put, if you wanted to brew your own grind of coffee, you can actually put it in a reusable filter that it comes with. So you don't have to use paper filters. Again, remember the flavor. Drop it in there and brew yourself a cup of coffee. But if you want to use a K-Cup, which in my house, we've got a Keurig K575 in our kitchen and we love it. And so this is going to be much more convenient for us to be able to take some K-Cups with us out of our kitchen when we go glamping and be able to brew a cup of coffee that's different for each and every person to each and every person's likes, wants, and desires. So this one right here, I can see at the bottom, be very careful, don't just stick your finger in this because this has a needle down here at the bottom to puncture the bottom of the K-Cup, just like you would have in a Keurig coffee maker. Now, you're probably sitting there asking yourself, if you have a Keurig at home, why don't you just get a Keurig for your RV? The answer is purely price, honestly, and the rest of it is similarities, because they make a Keurig Personal that is very similar to this, but it's almost double the price of this. This one was $39.42 plus tax at the local big box store. So I'll talk about the similarities when we get into the brew times, because this brews any K-Cup. So I've got my K-Cup right here that I'm going to be brewing here in a second. But this is half the price. And I have the flexibility that if I want to bring my own grind of coffee, remember my little blue container over here of coffee, I could take that with me if I so much desire. Or if you've got friends or family that are going to come camping with you or come over to your house and they've got their preference of coffee and they want to bring it with them, you can still accommodate them in the Hamilton Beach FlexBew coffee maker. So that's what this is for. Again, be very, very careful with this because it has a needle down there at the bottom that will puncture the bottom of the K-Cup when you insert the K-Cup. So don't go reaching in there because you could cause yourself bodily harm. Let's see what else. Oh, this is to clean it out. You just pull that piece out and this piece out and wash it up. If you really need to thoroughly clean the device, it's It's two things. It's that and that, or that and that. That's it. So, because I'm going to be doing a K-cup today, that's what we're going to be doing. Now, looking down in here, there's nothing else. You see? Nothing. So, when you talk about easy cleanup afterwards, it's as simple as rinse these out and you're good to go. Stick it in there, you're good to go. But you don't have to do that every time you make a cup, because remember, K-cups are all self-contained. They have sealed coffee with their own filter, consistently made, and you're good to go. The reason why I was talking about the challenges with this being such a small carafe on this is my coffee mug. It's as big as my head. It holds 16 ounces of coffee plus creamer. And that's how I like my coffee. Just some creamer and the coffee, I'm good to go. Here's your drip tray. Goes on top of here. So if you have a short cup, you can put it in there and get your cup closer to the brew of the coffee as it's coming out. Or this will brew like a travel mug that will fit in here, because this right here comes out. And then you can take your drip tray, drop it down into there, and you're good to go with a taller cup. So you have flexibility there. And you're brewing directly into the cup. Again, it's all about time. Remember, roughly about 5 to 6 minutes to brew a pot in this versus the brew time of this. And we're gonna time it. I've got a phone right here with a timer that I'm gonna time the brew time on this. It doesn't have a boiler inside. It just has a reservoir that you pour water. And then you're gonna press the one button right here. So it's only a single button choice in here. The size of the brew is going to depend on how much water you pour into the back here. So again, my coffee cup holds 16 ounces of coffee, so I've got 16 ounces of water from my home here in my RV. So it's a consistent cup of coffee. So this is natural spring water from my home, and I'm going to put that into the back of the coffee pot here. Let's see, I don't know, this is the first time let's see, what is this, a sticker? It says, use a single serving pack or ground coffee. Well, I kind of figured that out when there's a filter and the insert. So that's a little sticker there, kind of reminds you that you can do both in this FlexBew system. You can store your brew basket inside here. So that comes open, little container there. I know my coffee cup's not going to fit. Well, maybe it will. Oh, wow, it will. So I can take a 16-ounce mug of coffee, and it'll fit into the drip tray with the lifter on it. If I drop this down to here, it's going to be too tall, and I might get some splash out of the coffee. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the drip tray back in, put my coffee cup in here, and I need to plug this in. So let me go around here and plug that in. So now we're plugged in to power and we're good to go. And I'm going to take my water here, my 16 ounces. Now this says it brews up to 14 ounces. And over here on the water reservoir in the back, it's got kind of a measuring gauge up here. It starts out at, let's see, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 14 on here. Now, I'm going to try to put 16 ounces of water in here just to see what it'll do. Now, some people will argue that a K-cup should only be brewed with 10 ounces of water. Again, subjective. I've been brewing K-cups with 16 ounces of water for as long as I've been using K-cups, and they're perfectly fine for me. If you don't like the flavor, then again, it's subjective on flavors of coffee. So I'm going to keep an eye on this as I'm pouring in the water to make sure I don't overflow this. And I can see the water going up in the measuring guide here. There's the 10, there's the 12, there's the 14. Can I get 16? I got all 16. I can brew a 16-ounce cup of coffee in here. That's amazing. So let me set this off to the side. I'm going to close the lid here in the back. I'm going to take my K-cup and I'm going to push it in here. So water in there, K-cup in here. Now I'm going to get my timer ready, because this is one button. I'm going to turn this way so you can actually see it. I don't want it to fall out of the power plug, and make sure that doesn't happen. Okay. All right, so I have my stopwatch right here, and as soon as I press this down and press the button, we're going to go. So, down, lock, start. All right, so now we've got the timer going, and I can tell you that I ran a test on my Keurig 575 in my house, and with the system on, warmed up, and the boiler ready to go, it takes about a minute and 39 seconds to brew a cup of coffee, 16 ounces, in my Keurig K575. Again, this one takes approximately 6 minutes to set up everything and get it ready to go in it for it to brew the whole pot. And it's only 20 ounces of coffee. So 20 ounces of coffee in about 6 minutes total time versus a minute and 38 on a Keurig 575 in the house. Now, there's a complete major difference between the two on that. But in the Keurig Personal, the one that's a comparable competitive model to this, it takes about 2.5 to 3 minutes, roughly. Mileage may vary depending on the system and some differences about them. But you're roughly going to be looking at about 2.5, maybe 3 minutes to brew a cup of coffee in the Keurig Personal, which is a very similar kind of construction as this, where there's no boiler in the back. You just open it up, pour the water in, put your K-cup in, and press the on button. It'll go through its warm-up, and then it'll dump the coffee out. So the reason why I'm saying that is that was kind of a deciding factor of us going with the Hamilton Beach versus going with a Keurig Personal. Is the Keurig Personal is roughly about $90, I've seen it as much as $100 in a store, versus $39.42 with the Hamilton Beach. Now, we're sitting at 2 minutes and 9 seconds right now, and I haven't heard any water coming out of this yet. Now, granted, this was ice cold water when I started, so I'm just assuming that it's got a thermostat in here that if you really wanted to brew it faster, you can dump in hot water, but you've got to be careful because then you could scald the coffee when you are brewing it. So make sure that you use cold water when you are brewing coffee. Sitting at 2 minutes and 39 seconds right now, and I can hear it starting to bubble. So I'm guessing that it's going to start brewing and dumping into the cup here right now. So 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Again, multiple ways to have human error when making a consistent cup of coffee with a drip coffee maker. The Keurig is good, bulky in the big models. The Personal model is roughly double the price of this for a cup of coffee in a single brew, because you're looking at about $90 versus $39, and I can hear it coming through. And there it's going. It's finally brewing. We're at 3 minutes and 29 seconds, and we're finally brewing with cold water going through the brewer. And I'm assuming once this thing is done brewing that this light will turn off. A lot of single brew coffee makers will do that because it doesn't stay on. There's no heat plate for it. As soon as it's done brewing, it shuts off the heating element inside, and it's basically ready for the next time. So right now we are sitting at 3 minutes and 59 seconds, so 4 minutes so far, with ice cold water. Remember, I always brew with ice cold water, and my assumption is once you're done with the first cup, the system's already warmed up, and you will get a faster brew time in your coffee, because this is still brewing out coffee. You can hear the motor inside. It's a quiet pump. Listen to that. Oh, there it is. It's done. Kind of loud. It's going to shut off. My assumption. Oh, there it goes. And the light goes off, just as I assumed. So in 4 minutes and 45 seconds, roughly, we brewed 16 ounces of, whoo, that's hot coffee. Whoo! That is hot coffee. Let me do a measurement. I've got a thermometer in here. And this is the freezer of the RV. So let me check out the temperature of this. This has been sitting in the freezer, which was sub-zero. And let's see what our temperature is. All right, we're coming up on 135. Wow, this is a hot cup of coffee. 137. We'll just call it for measurements, 140. So this brews a cup of coffee at 140 degrees Fahrenheit. That is crazy. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reach into the fridge back here and get some of my creamer that I like to use. It's back in the fridge. And give it a quick stir. Great cup of coffee. It's exactly what I have when I'm at home. So whether you are on the road or at home, the Hamilton Beach FlexBew coffee pot, I got to give it a thumbs up. 2 thumbs up for that matter. Brew time is a little long. About 4 minutes and 45 seconds, I think what we calculated out. Again, my guess is on second brew, the system is already warmed up on the inside, so it's going to heat that water faster, so you're probably going to see a reduction in brew times. I'll keep an eye on that as we use it, and I'll post an update in the video description below so that you'll know. But my guess is it's probably going to drop by at least 60 seconds on the second brew. But again, clean up with this versus this. This one I'd have to take it out, take the filter out, make sure it's rinsed out. Sometimes the filter lets coffee grounds go over it and they go into the pot, so you got to rinse the pot out. This one is just as simple as lift it up and take my K-cup out, just like that. Throw it in the garbage, and I'm ready to brew the next pot, or cup for that matter. So I hope you like this video. I hope you like the unboxing of the Hamilton Beach FlexBew Single Brew Coffee Maker. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Share it with somebody that you know who's looking for an alternative to Keurig but still likes K-cups. And as always, till the next video, be positive. May the force be with you. That's some good coffee.